Good morning. Welcome to Mantra 108, where we're currently working on 21 days of chanting the Asato Mā mantra. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā, Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, which translates to lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from a fear of death to a knowledge of my eternal nature, my immortality, my innate immortality. Good morning. So, before we get started chanting our mantra this morning, I wanted to talk to you about something that my teacher, Mṛtyormā, compiled, which is called the 8 stages of mantra meditation, transforming from life jacket to divine life. So there are 8 stages that we'll talk about. I'm going to talk about 4 of those stages today, and then I'll talk about the other 4 of those stages tomorrow. So the first stage is mantra as life jacket. So what in the world does that mean? So at our most obvious level, our mantra yoga practice displaces the usual stream of habitual thoughts with an engagement with a mantra. So if we were to tape our thoughts for a 24-hour period, I think we'd be quite surprised at how many negative or self-evaluative or other evaluative, blaming and being angry, and we have thoughts that invade our brain all the time, thoughts of comparing ourselves to others, thoughts of superiority versus inferiority, self-doubt, fear, thoughts of lack, desires that might not be in our best interest, clinging to the past or worrying about the future, hopelessness, which could be a theme coming up for us now in this current environment of this viral tsunami that's sweeping the world. So the sacred formula of sound that is in these mantras, these Sanskrit mantras, literally breaks the habit of our ordinary brain recirculating all of those thoughts that might not be, good morning, that might not be the most advantageous for us. So our mantra practice throws us this life jacket that we can hang on to, that breaks this cycle of negative thought patterns. So that's the first step. And then after we're practicing, after we're doing our mantra practice for a while, then we move toward discernment. Mantra as discernment. Gradually and steadily through our mantra practice, we become aware of our thought content, and especially that thought content that might not be serving us well. And as we experience this observing of our thought content, we begin to, sorry, my internet tends to cut out just a little bit when I'm first talking. I don't know why, but it does that. So now we're back. So throughout your day, even when you're not practicing your mantra, although we did talk about ajapa yesterday, that the mantra just keeps going on by itself after we become steady in our practice. So throughout the day, even if we're not specifically concentrating on our mantra, we become keenly aware of these junk thoughts that are in our brain. And soon we become aware that those junk thoughts are not the real us. It's not the real you. These thoughts of blame and separation and comparison and, all of this. This is not the real you. And then you can begin to be a witness to those junk thoughts. Your real self, which is divine in nature, can observe those junk thoughts and just let them go. So we begin to be the witness and to discern what is a life-giving thought for me, what is a thought that I just need to throw away and not pay any attention to. So first the mantra is a life jacket. Then the mantra helps us to be better in our discernment of what we want to let into our lives, into our thoughts. And then the third stage of this mantra practice is empowerment. So as we start to cultivate this discrimination, this ability to discriminate between what serves us and what doesn't serve us, our inner creative, generative thoughts have more power. And so we're creating space now for our creativity, the thoughts that are creative for us, rather than that cycle of thoughts that don't serve us. And we experience the sacred energy of our life force because we've kind of cleared out the junky stuff. And then we start to accept responsibility for the ways in which we express our life force. Are you following this? It's pretty cool. So, how do I want to explain when I become acutely aware of what my true life force is, my true nature is, that I am an expression of divine consciousness? Why would divine consciousness ever want to waste their time on blaming, on fear, on anger, on, all of this stuff? Now, we're humans. We're going to slip into those things, especially if we are reinforcing them with the news that we're happening to tune into. We're gonna experience those thoughts that are not serving us, but we're becoming empowered. We're becoming able to discern, and so we're becoming empowered. And now we have more ability to choose. Do I want to stay with these junk thoughts, or do I want to reach for a better thought? Do I want to reach for a better way of being? Do I want to reach for a better way of expressing myself? Expressing my own divine nature. So we really become empowered through our mantra practice. And then we begin to become more authentic. So there's a word in Sanskrit. That word is satya. Satya means truth. So we start to just settle into our own truth a little bit better, our own authentic truth. Now, the origin of the word authentic, the origin of that word is author. So if we think of authenticity, oftentimes, in fact, I wrote an article about this for Elephant Journal a year or so ago. Are we being authentic, or are we just being mean? You know, I mean, sometimes we want to claim our authentic self. This is my authentic self, so I'm going to say whatever I want. I'm going to say whatever comes to mind. Well, that's not really authenticity. That's maybe just a mean-spiritedness. But the word authentic comes from the root word author. So think of it this way. What if authenticity means that we can become the author of our life, the author of our story, the author of our thoughts? And so, what kind of story do you want to write for yourself? What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? What kind of novel do you want to write that will allow your authentic story to unfold? Not this junk story. This is another benefit of our mantra practice. We get to sink into our true authenticity, which is we're an expression of the divine. So let's do that rather than this, you know. So those are the first 4 levels of our mantra practice. Tomorrow I'll talk about the next 4. We're going from mantra being our life jacket to mantra being a vehicle for a divine life. It makes me emotional just to think about the potential that we all have. The potential that we all have individually, and then that collective potential that we talked about, I think, yesterday. All right, so now we'll begin our practice for today. I have tuned the tempura down 1/2 step. So we were chanting, this is for music nerds, we were chanting on the A note. Today we're going to move it down just a 1/2 step to the G sharp or the A flat. And what this will do for us is it will move the tone, it will sink the tone a little bit further down into a more grounded place for our practice. So I'll turn this tempura on, and I have to wipe a little tear away because my emotion brought up a little tear and it will bother me during my practice. Oh, wait. Before I start the tempura, let's do a little bit of opening exercises to open the jaw for our practice. So again, just give yourself a little bit of massage in that TMJ area. And while you're doing that, open the mouth and roll that jaw around a little bit. Yeah. And let's pay a little attention to our scalenes. Dig those fingers in and just move them deeply into the scalenes. And back down. And when you're done with your scalenes, you can do just a little bit of neck roll. And then to make your spine just a little bit longer, take a nice full inhale and release. Inhale again and release. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya, Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya. Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya. Tamaso Mā Jyotir Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sit in the silent vibration of your sound. And so, I hope that today you'll contemplate this idea of living from a place of authenticity. And I hope you'll think a little bit about this journey from ordinary consciousness to mantric consciousness, going from life jacket to discernment, to living in empowerment, and then authenticity. And I'll post the article from, I think it was from Elephant Journal or maybe from Shivana Spirit. Anyway, I'll post that article on our Mantra 108 group, so that if you'd like to read that article about authenticity and authoring our own life, you can read that. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:30. Thank you for being with me. Have a wonderful day.